Hey guys, we are going to do a quick overview of the LUXE Newborn collection. This collection is full of many wonderful actions that really help speed up your workflow and aid in your clean and creative edit. So let's just jump right in here. First in our collection, we've got the Fresh Starters, helps fix the exposure, contrast, highlights, and color. Blanket brushes to help fix smooth blankets, change the colors, haze up the edges. There's many different skin brushes to correct your newborn skin tone. Bonus brushes to help darken and lighten and sharpen specific areas of your image. There are many soothing enhancements to help add that extra creative touch to your image. And down just a little bit further, we've got our matte pastels. And each of those has a mixer, so you can just click once, play, and run all of these and mix and match and find what works best with your image. There are some black and white images, or actions rather, in this collection, as well as workflow actions to help speed up your workflow and fresh finishers that comes with a variety of different vignettes. So let's go ahead and edit an image. This is the first of 3 images we will be editing today, and this is the after, and this is the before. So notice how the skin tones in the overall image is kind of cool. We definitely warmed it up a bit and added some really nice creamy skin tones to the baby. So what I had done was just group together the actions that I had ran, and we're going to go ahead and start from scratch here and create that look. Okay, so the first action that we're going to run on this image is the smooth as a baby's bottom. I do like to go in and correct baby's skin tone before starting to edit the rest of an image. So, okay, here we go. So I'm just going to make my brush a little bit smaller by using the left bracket key. Okay, and you can zoom in. I'm just going to try and breeze through this edit here. Ultimately, you'll want to be just a little bit more careful than I am. And notice when I'm smoothing out baby's skin, I'm resizing the brush constantly by using the left and right bracket keys. I'm also avoiding the baby's eye area, as well as the bottom of the nose here. I will make my brush really small and go just above the top of baby's lip and on the sides of baby's chin here. You also want to avoid some of the bigger creases, like the crease in her arm. I don't mind brushing over the small little wrinkles here, just to kind of smooth that out a bit. Okay, and I'm just going to go over some of her feet, avoiding her toes. Okay, so I really like that, and now we're just going to add a little bit of a healthy glow to baby. I'm going to click on Healthy Glow and run that action. I'm going to brush this entirely onto all of baby's face. Now, if baby's eyes are open, you'll want to avoid the baby's eyes. But in this case, baby's eyes are closed, so I'm just going to brush right on top there. And the feet. Now, notice her feet are just a tad red, so I'm going to remedy that with the Kiss Away the Red action. Okay, and I'm just going to brush on top of baby's feet here. Notice how super easy it is to remove the red tones from baby. Now, all of the actions are customizable. You can adjust the opacity to where you think it's removing just enough red. I'm going to keep that right at 43%. And now we are going to add one of the enhancements. Okay, so I like Hissy Fit on this image. We're going to run that. Let's go ahead and zoom back out just a little bit here. Okay, so with this particular action, I'm going to change the opacity. And I'm just going to bring that up till I find it's working best with the particular image. Now I know I'm going to add some haze here in a little bit, so I'm going to keep this, the opacity a bit high. Okay, I do, however, want to brush some of this off of the baby. To do that, make sure your layer mask is selected. It already is. Okay, my brush is selected, the opacity is at 100%, and I'm going to bring black to the foreground color. And actually, I want to make sure I don't brush off too much, so I'm going to bring the brush opacity down a bit to 30%. Okay, and I'm just going over baby a little bit here. Okay, so I really like that, and I do want to add a little bit of haze to the edges. So we're going to go back up to the blanket brushes, press continue, continue, and okay. What really makes these blanket actions wonderful is they will match with literally any blanket or backdrop color. Okay, so I've got my color picker. The action already brought this up for me, so I don't have to worry how to select it. And I like that color. I'm going to press OK and continue. You always want to work with a fairly large brush when brushing on the background haze. Okay, and I just realized my brush opacity is still at 30. I'm going to bring that up to 100% and just change the opacity of the action. And if you realize that you don't really like the color that you painted on, it's a super simple fix. Just open your action. If you're using elements, use the open action, open folder action at the bottom of your collection to open it. Okay, and I'm going to double click on the little color box here that says sample blanket color. And I can literally just click around until I find a color that I'm really liking with my image. Press OK. And I'm going to close that up and I'm done. Okay, I do want to bring the opacity down a bit. I'm going to keep that right around 30%. Okay, and at this point, we're going to run highlight formula. It looks like the skin of baby is still just a little bit bright. So we want to remedy that with the highlight formula and add just a touch of softness to baby's skin. Okay, look how super gentle this is. I'm just seeing a very ever so slight difference in the calming of the highlights in this image. So I'm going to keep that right at 50%. I really like that. And almost done here with this edit. I did mention earlier that we're going to add a little bit of haze. So I'm going to run Peaches and bring the opacity down. Let's see here. I'm just going to bring that down to about 15%. And the very last action that we're going to run, just to bring a little bit of a pop to baby, is the Selective Sharpen, just to really bring out those details and bring the attention in towards baby. Okay, making my brush smaller, still at 100%, and I'm just going to brush right over top of baby here. Notice I'm not being super careful. There is a blanket in the background, so I'm not really worried with sharpening just a tiny bit of the blanket around baby. Okay, so we're getting that nice attention to detail here. Let's move on to image number 2. This one was a ton of fun. We went in and changed the actual blanket color. So this is the before with the kind of purpley gray tones, and after we changed that to a really creamy tan color. So again, I just went in and grouped together the actions here, and we're going to start from the very beginning. The first thing we're going to do with this image is actually change the blanket color. So I'm going to run change blanket color, continue, continue, okay? And now I literally get to go in and pick any color that I want. Now I had already chosen a specific color, so I'm just going to type the number in. We've got 877A66. But again, you can go in and click through all the different colors and just kind of sample around and pick the color that you like best. And okay, so I'm just going to start painting this onto the image. It can be kind of messy around the edges, and then I'll make my brush quite a bit smaller and just brush over the tight edges around baby. Okay, remember, brush should be at 100% opacity. And now I'm going to zoom in and really get tight around those edges. And we're going to skip through this real quick here so I don't bore you guys with painting over the edges. Just make sure that your brush is at a much smaller size when doing this. Okay, so I just finished painting around baby. Notice one of the most important aspects of the color change action is I'm not losing any details. I'm not directly painting like you would with the paint bucket over the blanket to where you lose the detail. All of the detail is still there in the blanket. We simply change the color. So again, with this action, you can open up your folder and click on the Pick Blanket Color square, and you can just click around and change the blanket color afterwards if you feel like you want a different color. Or you can go in and brighten, darken, and lighten your backdrop as well. So very, very versatile. And now we're going to move on to baby's skin. There is just a teeny tiny bit of a purple shadow on baby's face. So we are going to run Purple Be Gone and just brush that over just this left side of baby's face here. Okay, let's just adjust that a little bit. Okay, so still working on the skin, we're going to run Buttercream. This is one of, this is definitely my favorite action for baby's skin. It just really brings out a beautiful glow. So I'm going to make sure I add this to the top of baby's head. And again, you can paint over the eyes, the nose. I'm avoiding the lips here, as long as baby's eyes are closed. Otherwise, you'll want to avoid the eyes as well. And we're going to keep that at 30% opacity and run Lash Detail. I use this on almost every newborn edit as well. You'll want to zoom in quite a bit to baby's face. Okay, and make the brush super, super small, almost like a pinprick here. And I'm just going to run this right along the crease of baby's eye. Okay, and notice that subtle difference. You've got that nice definition on baby's eye here. We're also going to add Healthy Glow to baby's skin. Make the brush larger, just to give it that really nice, beautiful, buttery, rich glow. I don't mind getting some of that on the lips. Okay, and I'm just going to bring the opacity down just ever so slightly here. And just add a little bit of softness to the image. We are going to run Soft Cotton. Okay, and let's bring the opacity down just a little bit here. And I like that right around 34%. It really brings a nice soft, subtle, hazy look to the image. Okay, and just to add a tiny bit of contrast back into the image here, we're going to run Soft Boost. Okay, and I really like the subtle brightness that we're getting as well. I'm going to keep that right at 50%, and the last action that's really going to finish off this edit is our vignette action. So I'm going to open the folder, and I'm going to turn on the oatmeal vignette. Okay, and again, you can click on that and adjust the opacity of the vignette itself. I'm going to keep that right at about 90%, but it really finishes off the edit and brings that attention in towards your little tiny subject. I'm really loving that action as well. So let's move on to our last edit in this video. And we are going to edit this beautiful little baby, and notice she's on a purple backdrop, so we'll also be removing some purple from her skin. This is the before. And notice the after, how we really added that beautiful glow back into baby's skin and brought that attention in towards baby. So again, this is the actions that I had used grouped into a folder. I'm going to start anew and we'll go through all of the actions used on this image as well. Okay, and just to start off the edit, again with the skin tones, we'll want to fix some of the purple showing up in baby's skin. So let's run Purple Be Gone. And notice how there's not really a lot of purple on the top of baby's head here, but it does start to occur on her hands, on the bottom part of her cheeks and chin, and her feet and arms. So I'm only going to brush on this action where I actually see it occurring. So I'm going to start brushing it onto her arms, her little toes, get her chin here and part of her cheeks. And the back of the image is kind of dark right now. We will be lightening that up later. I'm still going to get this on that area of her skin as well. Okay, so next we're going to add buttercream, which we know adds a really nice buttery rich glow to baby. Wonderful action. Okay, and again, her eyes are closed, so I'm just brushing right over that. Going around the lips. And getting her hands and her feet. Especially her feet. Notice, you know, with her feet, you know, when comparing to the rest of the body, have the most of the purple on them. So we'll really need to just add a little bit extra to her feet here to get those looking just right. Okay, so what we're going to do is run buttercream one more time. Yes, these are completely stackable, so that will stack right on top of the last one. And this time I'm just going to brush a little bit more onto baby's feet just to really get that color, that nice creamy color coming out on baby's feet here. Okay, so I really like that. Look at just the subtle difference that makes on baby's feet there. Okay, so again, on this image, we're going to run lash detail and just brush along the lash line there. Okay, so I will want to zoom in on baby's face. Okay, and make the brush super, super tiny, a little bit bigger. There we go. You want to be careful that you actually stay on baby's lash line. If you make a mistake, like right there, I just accidentally painted on baby's eyelid. That's fine. Just switch the foreground color here to black. Make your brush a little bit bigger. And just brush over that and notice how it disappears. Okay, so I'm going to make my brush small again and get the other lash line. Okay, perfect. All right, so next we are going to just get the color in this image popping a little bit more. To do that, I'm going to run Dreamy Color Pop. Okay, I really love that pop that we're getting. We're going to keep that right there at 100%. And next we're moving down to our enhancers. And let's run Bonnet. This action has a really nice, deep, rich matte feel to it. We're going to keep that action at a very low opacity. We don't want it to overpower the image, but I really like the softness that it is bringing into this image. So just to take that a little bit further with the softness, we're going to run Soft Cotton. Okay, and I don't want baby's face to be too hazy, so we're going to brush some of that off of the baby. So to do that, you want to grab your brush. Layer mask is already selected. Make sure black is your foreground color and lower the opacity to 30% just to make sure you don't overdo it. Okay, the more you brush over the area, the more haze that you're going to be removing. And I really like that. Notice how I'm working with a fairly large brush here. Okay, next we're going to run Oh Baby, which is right here at the top of the enhancers. And notice how we're just mixing and matching the actions here. That's what makes this collection fun. There are a ton of different looks that you can get with the entire collection with mixing and matching the actions, both clean and creative. Okay, and notice how this warms up the image quite a bit here. I'm really liking the effect that we're getting with this image. We are just going to run 2 more actions. We've got Lullaby. Okay, and notice how we're just mixing and matching the actions, both clean and creative. Okay, and notice how this warms up the image quite a bit here. I'm really liking the effect that we're getting with this image. We are just going to run 2 more actions. We've got Lullaby. There we go. And I'm really getting a nice, bright, creamy look with this action. We're going to keep that right at 40% and finish off this edit with a vignette. So I'm going to run Choose Your Vignette. I'm going to open that up and click on Twinkle Blue. Okay, and I'm just going to change the opacity. And we're going to keep that right around 30%. Okay, and that is our edit from beginning to end. See how super simple it was to remedy baby skin. Not only did we remedy it, we added that beautiful glow, and baby just looks wonderful in this image. Thanks so much for taking a look at our brief tutorial of the LUXE Newborn collection. And we know you guys are going to fall in love with this collection.